Welcome to another episode of the Michael Anthony podcast. I want to talk about leadership, but not in the way that you might think, but leadership in the way that we're in the world we are today, where it's just pure chaos everywhere, and how it is that you can step into leadership today for yourself, your family, and most importantly, your team, and not get lost in the chaos of everything. Lord knows that the way that the world is operating today is arguably the most chaotic that we are bearing witness to. Not that the world hasn't always been chaotic, but holy crap, it's like every time you pick up your phone, the world's on fire. Something else is happening. So, we as leaders have to be able to step into our businesses and operate functionally with our teams. Because think about this, if we're seeing it and we're acknowledging it, we know it exists, we have to also see, know, and acknowledge that it exists with our teams as well. So, here are a couple of things that you want to think about as we're navigating really effectively having a team that doesn't break down around you and how they can stay calm when business is absolutely insane. First and foremost, it starts with you. And this is what I learned a really difficult way a long time ago. I did not realize when I was in my first leadership role at 18 years old at a Wendy's at a fast food restaurant leading 52 people that some of the lessons I learned then would play such a massive role in my life today. And so when I think about leadership, the first thing that I think about is this lesson that I learned from this woman who to this day taught me the most powerful lesson ever in leadership, who was my general manager at the time, named Angie. And I want to call this Angie's rule. So this is Angie's rule. And what Angie's rule is very simple. You are either a leader or you're an employee, but you cannot be both. So one day I'm running the team, I'm in training. So she's kind of watching over me, seeing how I operate, seeing how I act, seeing how I react. And what I start to notice is the store starts to get crazy busy as we head into our lunch rush. We have those dual lined inside lines where two sides coming and hitting both cash registers. We got a line out the door. Drive through is around the corner and out to the street. And the craziest part about this particular day, we had multiple people call in. And instead of running a full team, I was about four people short. And four people short is a huge problem when everyone has a task that is oriented to accomplishing a goal. And this particular day, I found myself on the cash register taking orders. And as I took more orders, I could see the rest of my team getting backed up. The fries were backed up. The burgers were backed up. The drinks were backed up. The to go is backed up. The trash is overflowing. There is crap everywhere. It is a disaster. And we're about 45 minutes into this. I look over to my right, and in the drive through window, Angie is standing there looking at me. And I mouthed to her, "Are you going to help me?" And she just stood there looking at me. Now, you have to keep in mind, I'm 18 years old at this time. I do not know how to handle whatever's happening right now. And I have this really viscerally emotional reaction, and it's just pure anger. And that kind of anger where you get a tear in your eye because you're ready to freak out. And the lunch rush eventually comes to an end. We're cleaning up. I'm getting everything reorganized, restocking, catching up, trying to calm the chaos. And I go into the back office and I'm sitting with Angie counting the cash from the lunch drop. And I ask her, "Why didn't you help me?" And this is where Angie's rule came from, because she looked at me and she asked me a question. Do you want to be a leader or do you want to be an employee? Because a leader, your job is to go out here and solve the problems. The employee's task is to execute the objective that the leader gives them. Your job on this particular day was to go and be the guy who moves around the store, helping where help is required, not doing a job. And so today you are an employee. And in the future, if you want to be successful, you have to be a leader. And that was one of the biggest lessons of my entire life. So the question I have for you first is, are you an employee or are you a leader? Because you cannot fix the chaos of what's happening if you put yourself in a position where you're stuck on the cash register. And then you have to have the conversation about how pressure and chaos can actually start to truly expose who you are as a leader. And when I was younger, it took me a long time to create reasoning. And I think this is probably true of a lot of young guys in leadership. I had to reason my way into understanding things because it was also so emotional in the beginning, whether I was running a shoe store or a hardware carpet factory or all the different things that I've done in my career early on. I constantly had to get back to this place of making reason of what was happening, especially under the pressure, because this is where you're going to get exposed. I see this all the time. People will say, yeah, Michael was a really nice guy. Ben was a really nice guy. Nancy was a really nice woman until shit hit the fan. And then their true colors came out. And I don't know if that's necessarily true colors. We're humans. We have things happen to us. But I want you to think about this. When the pressure is on, how are you reacting? When the pressure is on and it's pure chaos and your team needs you and the business needs you, how are you reacting? And there's some hard words I'm going to throw at you because I want you to consider. Are you running away? Are you being a coward? Are you fighting? Are you yelling? Are you screaming? Are you neutral? Are you so neutral that you seem nonchalant? There's so many questions you have to ask yourself about the way that you're showing up in your leadership style because you don't want people to make an assumption that when the pressure is on, that you crack. And cracking isn't only the fight or flight response to going and running and cowering. It's also that other side of it where you just stop showing up, where you break down, where everything stops working. I saw someone who was close to me in business once have this incredibly visceral, somatic reaction to this hard experience that they were going through. And they literally were on the floor convulsing. And we had to help them. They were having a panic attack. It was a whole thing. And so the thing is, you have to look at this and your reactions and ask yourself very simply, like, how are you showing up? How are you leading yourself in these moments? Can you get to the pause? If I give you anything today that I want you to take away from this, it's about getting to the pause. And the pause is such a great place because this is where you can make a actual meaning of what's taking place. One of the things that had I known when I was younger what I know now, it's to remove myself momentarily and observe what is happening. We make these snap judgments and we're so reactive to when our teams make mistakes, when things aren't working, when there's a problem in the business, a supply line shuts down, somebody quits, the P&L is all messed up, there's a board meeting that goes awry, whatever it is. We make these rash, unbelievably animal-brained decisions. When you pause, and this is the same thing I've taught thousands of clients over the years. You get to take a step back when you pause. You get to evaluate what is actually happening around you. And most importantly, the thing that you get to do is you get to get back inside of yourself. This is one of the things people really fail to understand about leadership is that when you're in the fire, you have to actually pause and make a decision about where you start to put it out. Because generally, in the midst of a fire, there's 1,000 different things happening. And the fires in the fast food restaurant that I was a general manager and training at were constant. They were every single day. And as I started to understand the business more, I could look at and take that pause, make an evaluation, and then decide on what is delegation. Because you don't want to get caught up again as being the employee. Again, we're not slighting employees here. I just want you to understand that there's a frame of reference between being a leader and being an employee, and they're not the same. And so now that we're in this place of this pause, we get to evaluate. And through this evaluation, we decide what tasks require immediate attention, what tasks can we delegate, excuse me, what tasks can we delegate, and what tasks do we have to take on? And so, what I'm always thinking about whenever something crazy is going on is prioritizing where my energy needs to go. And if you can do this, the thing will happen is you'll actually realize that you have the appropriate amount of energy to solve the problem in front of you. And you have to let your team go and be the ones who are solving the rest of the problems. Now, this is really important because this is where you get to figure out whether or not you are the bottleneck in the business. This is crazy. Most people don't recognize that the problem in the business is them. You are too hands on. You are too involved. You are too day to day. You see this in a lot of people who are micromanagers. You ask any employee across any vertical in the world, they will all tell you the same thing. They feel least productive when dealing with micromanagers because no one wants someone over their shoulder. And as a leader, you have to understand this. You brought someone into your team because you trusted that they could accomplish a goal. When I give directives to my teams, the thing that I'm giving them is an outcome. Hey, this is the thing that I want to see happen, Sally. You go and execute. Hey, Brian, this is the thing that I want to see happen. Go and execute. Hey, Steve, this is the thing that I want to see happen. Go and execute. And what I like to give them is the 90-10 rule. I like them to be 90% complete. And then the last 10%, they're coming to me. We're doing a review, we're checking, we're signing off, and we're getting to the point that we make sure that we cover all the bases. When it's 10-90, you give them the instructions, and then they can only create and complete 10% of the task. And 90% of the time, you're on their ass. This is just a disaster waiting for everyone. If you are still in the leadership space of believing that you have to handhold your people, I can tell you you've made a huge mistake in two areas. One, you don't actually know how to hire people. I see this all the time. This is the biggest mistake people make, especially when they're micromanaging. They don't know how to hire. So they brought on the wrong person, believing the wrong person is going to solve the problem, and they're not. And number two, you don't know how to let go. You are white knuckling business. You are white knuckling your team. You are white knuckling your life. You're like, if I hold on so tightly, things will happen. That's not how it works. The grip that you have, think about this for a moment. If you hold your hand out, your palm in front of you like this, and you take a glass of water, I'm not going to do this because my battery backup's underneath me, but you take a glass of water, you pour this glass of water into your hand, that water will stay in your hand as long as you don't make it overflow. The second you start to close your hand, that water is completely out of your hand, out of your control, and it's going everywhere. And that is micromanagement, and that is a lack of leadership that has trust in it. And so when we're looking at the chaos of what's happening today, a really hard check that you have to give yourself is stepping back and evaluating, how am I showing up as a leader today? Because when you do that, you're going to see that downstream effect on all of your teams. So I'll give you this. If you're stuck, if you're not sure where to go, how to approach this, the next steps in your life, I actually created 6 free guides that you can get if you go to michaelunbroken.com and you click free resources. These are about the 6 pillars of business. There's a short quiz that you can take to determine the bottleneck of your business right now. And then I'm going to send you a customized guide and the opportunity to hop on a call where we can do an optimization call and I can help you figure out exactly where you're stuck. So that said, michaelunbroken.com, click free resources. There is an amazing guide that I put together with my team. It's like 20 pages long, only about leadership, and it's absolutely free. So michaelunbroken.com, just click free resources. That said, my friend, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and until tomorrow, be unbroken. I'll see you.